Hey friends, let me ask you a deceptively simple question. Can you sit down on the floor and then stand back up without using your hands or knees for support? Seems basic, right? But what if I told you that your answer might quietly predict how long you're likely to live? I know, it sounds absurd. But behind this humble movement lies one of the most fascinating health studies you've probably never heard of. If this kind of deep dive into science, health, and the surprising truths behind everyday things interests you, consider subscribing to Mr. America. We uncover the stories most people overlook, but could change the way you see the world, and maybe yourself. Let's unpack the science, the controversy, and the real reason why getting up off the ground might just say more about your future than your smartwatch does. So what is the sitting rising test? It was first introduced by a team of Brazilian scientists in a 2012 study published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology. The researchers tested over 2,000 adults aged 51 to 80, asking them to sit down and rise up from the floor without using their hands, knees, or any other support. Each participant began with a score of 10 points. They lost 1 point each time they used a hand or knee for assistance. The lower their score, the higher their risk of death over the next 6 years. Here's the shocking part. Those who scored less than 8 were 2 times more likely to die in the follow-up period than those who scored a perfect 10. And those who scored 3 or less, they had more than 5 times the risk of death. Let that sink in for a second. No needles, no fancy tests, just whether or not you can get up off the floor. You might be wondering, what does a floor test have to do with death? Well, it turns out that sitting and rising without support requires a powerful combo of balance, flexibility, muscle strength, and core stability. All these things tend to deteriorate with age, and not always in obvious ways. The test becomes a window into your body's biological age, which is often very different from your actual age in years. A 40-year-old who struggles with this test may have a biological fitness age closer to 70. On the flip side, there are 70-year-olds who pass this test with ease. But it's more than just muscle. Poor performance on the SRT has been linked to falls, frailty, and even cardiovascular problems. Here on Mr. America, we dive deep into stories that mainstream media glosses over. And this story is especially powerful because it puts the spotlight back on you, not your genes, not your income, just your body today. Pause for a second and try it. Can you sit and rise without support? Let me know how you did in the comments. No shame here, we're all learning. Now let's be fair, this test isn't perfect. It doesn't account for people with knee injuries, arthritis, or permanent disabilities. It doesn't factor in things like cardiovascular health, mental health, or diet either. Some researchers argue that muscle strength is only one part of the mortality equation, and using a single test to predict longevity is an oversimplification. Others point out that socioeconomic factors, access to healthcare, and chronic stress play an enormous role in how long we live. And that's true. Life expectancy is complicated. But here's the thing. Just because the test isn't a full diagnosis doesn't mean it's useless. It's a low-cost, instant feedback loop. It tells you if your body is slowly falling behind, before you end up in a hospital bed. And hey, if you've made it this far, maybe consider subscribing. We're just getting started, and we've got a lot more coming that connects dots others leave scattered. Globally, populations are aging fast. By 2050, 1 in 6 people will be over the age of 65. That means mobility isn't just a personal health issue, it's a public health crisis. In Japan, they've already adopted national fitness programs for the elderly, integrating balance and muscle training into everyday life. In India and the United States, efforts are more scattered, but rising cases of falls, fractures, and immobility are costing billions in healthcare. A test like the sitting rising test, if widely promoted, could be part of preventive health strategies worldwide. Imagine doctors using it during regular checkups, or schools incorporating it into fitness education, or YouTube creators, you and me, spreading the word about it. What do you think? Should this be part of standard health assessments? Would you take this test regularly if it helped track your biological age? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment. Here's what it really comes down to. The sitting rising test isn't about fear, it's about awareness. It doesn't predict your fate, it reflects your present, and that's powerful. We spend so much of life chasing big goals, big moments, and yet, sometimes the smallest actions, like sitting down on the floor and standing back up, can say more about where we're really headed. And if this simple act can spark a change in how you treat your body, your habits, or even how you age, then maybe it's not so simple after all. If this video made you pause and think, even for a moment, consider subscribing to Mr. America. We're here to uncover more truths that quietly shape our lives. Stories that matter, but don't always make the headlines. Until next time, take care of your body, stay curious, and keep standing tall.